Alright guys, this is the second time I've recorded this video, but the first time I didn't get all the way through and I accidentally hit the button on my phone, but here we are. So I bought a new tool, and it's a Powerbilt, sold at Advanced Auto Parts. It's made in Taiwan, but it's a Serpentine belt tool kit. Got a couple different languages there. That's the kit number. Comes with a 3/8 bar, 1/2-inch adapter. Let's see what it says here. It doesn't tell you, but that's a 13 through a 19, a 13, 14, 15, 13, 14, 15, whichever one's bigger on the picture, I don't know, and a 1/2-inch to 3/4 adapter. I wrote top on here because you would think that the side with the picture is the top, but as you can see by the latches, it is not. And I wrote that on there with a paint marker from Harbor Freight to avoid making a mess. So, it comes with a 3/8 bar like you saw in the picture. This thing's got some length to it. I think it's pretty long. You can get a lot of leverage with that thing. Comes with a 1/2-inch one. Comes with the adapter that I showed, which I will probably never use, but it's in the case. It's got 13 through 19, super shallow. There we are. Super shallow socket, 6.3/8 drive. And all of these are 6.3/8 drive, and it comes with a 13, 14, and 15 millimeter crow's foot. These crow's feet have that little divot on there to keep the bolt from walking off. I guess this would be like the equivalent of Snap-on's flank drive, but in a crow's foot. So, I don't have any super shallow sockets. I've made a couple. But anyway, so we're going to see the length on this thing, on this bar here. Like a super shallow breaker bar. So actually, I'm going to get it flush with this end so it's easy for me to measure. No shit. And it hangs over about a 32nd off the side there. Huh. We're going to see how long this thing is. About 30 and I see 5/8. 30 and 5/8 with the 1/2-inch adapter on there. I'm going to flip you all around so I don't accidentally hit the button again. Dang, that takes skill. Anyway. Oh, but I started the other way, so you guys are going to be upside down the rest of the video. No, I'm not going to do that to you guys. Anyway, I'll just try to be careful. So, this comes off, goes back in here in the blow molded case, and so does this. As you can see, the welds on this thing, not so great. I don't even know if I'd call that a weld. I think that's just like I think I can get it to hold. This one's even worse. That's not a good weld at all. But structurally, I don't think the thing is going anywhere. I guess I could have made this piece because this is really the piece I was after. But, yep. So it comes in a nice blow molded case. Now, I can keep things organized with the rest of my blow molded cases. I chose this one. This is actually the Renta tool from Advanced. It was $42 at the door with tax included in that. I live in Kentucky, and that was 6% sales tax. They had Performance Tool in the aisles, and it was $31 for that, but it did not come with all this stuff that this one comes with. You know, first off, this one's in a blow molded case. Performance Tool was not in a blow molded case. It was in that heat shrink plastic that you cut open with a knife and then, you know, You don't know where other pieces went and everything else. This one has a spot for everything. It is labeled for everything. Except for that. There's no label for the half-inch thing, but if you can't figure that out, maybe you shouldn't be working on cars. But anyway, so the performance tool stopped at 17 millimeter. It had 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It stopped at 17. You didn't get the 18 or 19. Did not have this adapter, which I'm not going to use anyway, but, you know, I've got another one. But the performance tool did come with a 13, 14, and 15 millimeter crow's foot, but did not have that little divot right there, so it does not slip off of a fastener. It did come with this, and it did come with this, but the handle on this stopped, you know, a couple inches shy of what this one is. And it did not come with a blow molded case. So those few extra parts were worth it to me to spend the extra $10. I looked at Snap-on, Gear Wrench, Mac, Matco, Cornwell, and I actually think I looked at oh crap, what the hell's those called on Amazon? S&P. I looked at SP Tools, and then I looked at VMI Tools, and VMI and everything else was more expensive than this. The Harbor Freight one, yeah, it was cheaper than this, but it didn't come with a blow molded case. And Harbor Freight's an hour from my house. So I'm not going there just for this when I need it today to change the belt on my wife's Acadia. So that's why I bought this. I needed one anyway, but now it's got a nice blow molded case that I can put with the rest of them. Nice and neat. And I made something. This is a, I turned it into an ashtray. This is the, remember guys, I don't know if, I haven't been to Harbor Freight in a little bit. Well, actually I lied. I went there like 3 or 4 days ago, but before that I've been there a while. But last time I went, they gave us the free magnetic parts bins, and I use it as an ashtray that doesn't move. That's what I use it for, because it stays with the lid of my toolbox. Anyway, so I made this. It's one of those drawer organizers from Harbor Freight. I labeled it 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, how you want to look at it. I got their earth magnets. They come in those little, looks like film canister looking things. You get them, I don't remember which aisle they're in. They're there though. And I actually bought their epoxy. This epoxy was like $2, I think. A little thing of 10 earth magnets was, I think, $1.50. And I got 2 of them, so I could, you know, do this. And this thing was $6 because I had a 20% off coupon. And this organizer came with 6. It came with 6. I cut it off with a razor knife because it would not fit on my tray on my US General tool cart. And I needed some organization in this drawer, so I cut this part off and used it for my adapters. You know, I've got a 1/2 inch to 3/4. This one's a S&K, I think, which I would much rather use versus the Powerbilt. That one's a S&K. Got a 1/4 inch breaker bar. Don't even know why I have that. I've got a Jones Way wiring screwdriver. This thing's actually really good. I mean, I've used the crap out of it if you can't tell. Jones Way. The end spins, so you can tighten things up in your hand while the end spins. It's actually pretty nice. Air chuck, you know. Pick tools, Harbor Freight pick tool set. Anyway, I use this because I need a little organization in this drawer. So, and it wouldn't fit on here, so I cut it off, put it in here, use this part here. Works out great for me. Labeled them. Use the epoxy and the earth magnets, and I will actually do a little demonstration for you guys on how strong the Harbor Freight earth magnets are. I've got a little bin here with some random screws. I'm just going to grab, let me grab a little more than that. we're going to do it, we're going to do it, right? All right. So I'm going to drop all these in the number 3 bin. Make sure all the screws are going to be attached to something. Random screws, machine thread. I actually got a nail in there. And we're going to see how strong these magnets really are. I'm going to throw a couple of the stragglers in there. Alright, so I've got 4 screws and a nail on that one. I've got 3 screws and a collar on that one. It's got an Allen head in it. I've got 5 screws on that one and 3 on that one. So it's just kind of random. But I'm going to take this thing, dump it upside down, and they don't fall off. Of course, if I shook it, I'm sure some would fall off. But that's just showing you, that's just for me to show you how good these magnets really are from Harbor Freight. That's just for me to show you that. That you can see that they didn't fall off. None of them fell off. You know, none of the screws fell off. None of the magnets fell off. That epoxy from Harbor Freight. Not bad. Not bad at all. Made this thing for under 10 bucks, and I've got some organization to it. Got some organization to it. It's nice and neat. Everything's labeled. It's actually got a little bit of power. Let me take you to the back of this toolbox here. Just a little spinaroo here. And you can see, and they can stick right there. So, I mean, it'll come off pretty easily, which I don't really like the super duper strong magnets, because then you end up scratching stuff, and then you end up knocking stuff out whenever you're trying to take stuff apart or whatever. Like this one from Harbor Freight, you guys are probably familiar with this. Well, how the hell do you get this? Oh, I just broke it. Oh, that pops in there. Okay. This little thing here from Harbor Freight. But to this one, I mean, it's good, but the magnets to me are kind of a little much. I mean, yeah, they won't fall off of stuff, but this isn't going to leave here. This is going to stay right here on my side shelf. It's not going to leave this spot, so it's good for nuts and bolts, just to keep them, you know, organized and everything else. So to me, that was a good buy. I've got my Jim Beam. But anyway, so to me that was a good buy. That Serpentine belt tool was a good buy. Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up for this video, I believe. I don't think I've gotten any other new stuff to show you guys. I haven't spent a whole lot of money lately. Wife's kind of been nagging. Oh, I did make something. You guys will be very proud of me. So I made, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the, you might be, with the 6.0, the diesel 6.0, not the gas. The gas is a good one too. A lot of people hate the diesel 6.0. I like it. But I had an ICP sensor go bad. In order to get the ICP sensor out, from what I know and what I've watched on YouTube, one of the easiest ways to get it out and everything else, the easiest way I found out was to go above the bell housing from the bottom side, take the heat shield off. I think there's a 13 millimeter and two 10 millimeter bolts. No, 8 millimeters. They're 10 millimeter thread, whatever that is, M6, whatever it is, but it's 8 millimeter head. So take the heat shield off, and then they want you to use that tool that I just bought, the Serpentine belt tool, with a long 27 millimeter socket, which, if you guys are not familiar, is dead nuts. The same, same thing as an inch and a 16th. That's a S&K as well. Well, this whole row is S&K. The same thing as an inch and a 16th. I don't have a 27 millimeter socket here. I have one at work. But I didn't have one here when I needed it. See? Look, guys, I know where my ashtray's at. Always, because it's on a magnet. Anyway, so 27 millimeter socket, and I wasn't going to go buy a serpentine belt tool whenever I already had the stuff apart. My wife wasn't here for me to go to the store. I called one buddy. He was at work. He was working late, so I just said, fuck it, I'll figure it out myself without going and buying specialty tools. So I used my Mac flex head ratchet, because if you use a deep well with a ratchet, with a regular ratchet, if you use a deep well with it, you hit your exhaust manifold. Your up pipes off your exhaust. So what I did, if you use a regular deep well socket, it's too long. If you use a shallow well, it won't grab the threads on the ICP sensor. So what I did is I made myself a inch and a 16th mid socket, which is the same as a 27 millimeter. I cut it with a bandsaw, a portaband, and if there's a deep, there's a shallow. I made a mid socket. It's a Craftsman socket. So, I mean, I ended up spending, actually made in a USA Craftsman. Oopsies. But I ended up should have used a China one, but I didn't think that through. But anyway, so I made a mid socket, and it worked with the flex head ratchet. Worked flawlessly. So I've got this next down here, next to my other 6.0 sockets. I got my IPR socket and my rear wheel bearing socket. So I've got that down there. Maybe I should patent a mid inch and a 16th socket. What do you think? They have mids. Yeah, they do have mids. Dang. Anyway, so that concludes my video for today. I know I've been ranting for a little bit, but I'm just a DIYer, used to be a professional. That's what I am. I used to be a professional. I got tired of the bullshit, and now I am an elevator guy. I install and modernize elevators, and I'm pretty happy with it, but I still do stuff for friends and family and whatnot. Used to work on cars for a living, but don't anymore. Insurance sucked, and I've got 4 kids, so I had to find something else with good insurance. So that's where I'm at. But anyway, thanks YouTube for watching my video, and subscribe, like, share, do whatever you got to do. I don't do that fancy stuff that everybody else does in their video, where they've got little arrows and they have an intro and everything else. This is just me talking. All right, well, y'all have a good night. Stay safe. Bye.